Two Chairs No Wedding, episode number 350. Who is Gomer Pyle? Two Chairs No Wedding is brought to you each week by the fine folks over at Weaver's Department Store. Drop by over at Weaver's and check out some of the great Mayberry items they've got there. They got the 2016 Andy Griffith Show wall calendar. You don't want to miss that. So head over and pick you up a copy. Also some sweatshirts in case you're getting cold. It's coming wintertime. Head over and check out the Floyd's Barbershop sweatshirt. That's one of my favorites. Over at Two Chairs, not Two Chairs, over at Weaver's Department Store. .com. Oh, Two Chairs Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. So head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com and pick up something, or feel free to donate to the show. I want to thank all of our patrons. Patrons, thank you very much. I want to thank everybody that's contributed and donated to the show. Thank you all as well. And thank you, even if you're just coming and listening or watching the show, depending on if you watch the video or listen, thank you for being here. It's always fun to spend some time in Mayberry with my friends, and I feel like that's what you are. Big Mayberry fans, you know, we got to stick together. We got to stick together. All right, so this episode is going to be called Who is Gomer Pyle? Now, we did some episodes previously related to this topic, I suppose. So we did, last one that we did was episode number 340, Who is Aunt B? So you can head back and listen to that if you didn't hear it. And we did one before that even, episode 333, Who is Opie Taylor? And then if you go back even further, we did two other ones. We did Who is Barney Fife, episode number 330. And episode number 329, we did Who is Andy Taylor? You know, that was a good one. Because I realized as we had been doing this show for quite a long time here, now we're to 350 episodes, we've never really covered all the characters. I've talked about all kinds of different things over the years that I've been doing this, but I've never really gone into who the characters were. And I thought that was a good thing for us to be trying to cover as we went forward. So this episode, we're going to talk about Gomer Pyle. He's a great character there in the Andy Griffith Show. But as we always try to refer to him here, they're real folks. They're real people in my mind. So we're going to talk about him like he was a real person, which he is. He lives in Mayberry. We see him every week or every day whenever we watch the Andy Griffith Show and check him out. So let me get you some background music going. There we go. A little background music as I talk. And we're going to talk about Gomer Pyle. I want to thank the VW Boys at VWBoys.com for the background music. Great Mayberry fans, by the way. Thanks, Tim White, and all the guys in the VW Boys. So, Gomer Pyle. Who is Gomer Pyle? Now, I'm sure you guys already know all this stuff, so this is not going to be a shock to any of you as we head into here. So let's go over, and for the people watching the video, I'm going to let you watch the actual video clips here of Gomer as we talk. So Gomer Pyle is a good-natured, naive, single man from Mayberry, North Carolina. He's the only apparent employee, at least until Goober shows up, over at Wally's filling station. He initially lived there in the back room. You remember that? He lived over in the back room. He was wide-eyed and slack-jawed, and he normally wore khaki long-sleeve shirt and khaki pants. He also had a baseball cap with the bill upturned on the front that he wore, and he usually had an old oil rag or something in his back pocket, to wipe his hands. He worked at the service station. Of course he did. The first time we ever met him, he displayed very little knowledge about mechanics. He didn't know how to work on cars. Remember the great filling station robbery? Remember when that happened? Well, if you'll remember on that time, he mistook a carburetor for a hood ornament. He he didn't know a lot about mechanics if you can't tell the difference between a hood ornament and a carburetor. Back on that same time when we met him there, he admitted that all he knew how to do was fill up the gas and the oil and the water and air. Of course, water and air was free. Water and air was free. But, Gomer, he quickly learned all about cars. And soon he was able to diagnose mechanical problems for the average layperson. No problem. It's your shocks. It's your shocks. He knew all about cars. Didn't take him long to learn it all. Of course, he probably learned it from Goober. The first time we actually ever saw him, and I don't know if you remember this, guys, but the first time we actually see Gomer was on the episode where Barney was Mrs. Magruder's cousin and got locked in the safe. You remember that? That was the first time we met Gomer, because Gomer showed up there at the bank with an acetylene blowtorch to cut through the bank vault. Remember that? Yeah, and it's hot. It's hot. Don't touch that. Later on, like I said, Gomer was able to diagnose problems from a car belonging to, the man in a hurry. He was stuck there in town and was delayed, but Gomer was able to help diagnose the problems, and, he got his cousin Goober to work on the car. But he did take the liberty of getting his picture made with it. He and Goober. So, like his cousin Goober, Gomer was always awestruck by the most simple things in the world. Yeah. That was one of the things we loved about him, I do believe. But he would, he was always awestruck by these things. So he would see things and just go, crazy about them quickly. And he resulted in exclamations. He had several catchphrases. Stuff like Shazam.
Shazam.
And golly.
Golly.
And then, of course, there was surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
And I guess if it was appropriate, he did this one.
Well, shame, shame, shame.
So Gomer always brought a smile to our face, and sometimes he was deputized by Deputy Barney Fife. Especially, when Andy was otherwise occupied, and he didn't know things about not sticking his shotgun in his mouth and, not hanging his head or his feet over the edge of the building. It was a lot of things Gomer didn't know. But he was always compliant, but his ineptitude usually made him more of a hindrance than a help in the line of duty. Especially when he was teamed up with Barney. We got to admit it. Wow. Can you imagine if Gomer and Barney were the ones protecting the city all the time? Anyway, in the eyes of his friends, and especially Sheriff Taylor, Gomer's shortcomings were generally outweighed by his gentle and generous spirit. Gomer's Mayberry roots were evident when he went off into the Marine Corps. He was definitely from the country, and his backward nature, served as a setting there as he met drill instructor Sergeant Vince Carter. He and Sergeant Carter, they had some times, but we're not going to talk about that because we're talking about the Andy Griffith Show. We will say that at first, Sergeant Carter, first time we met him, if you'll remember that, he was pretty rankled, and he was very irritated by the slow-witted Gomer Pyle, and he always dreamed of ways to get rid of him, get Gomer out of there. But over the course of time, Sergeant Carter began to tolerate Gomer even better, and he even grew to respect him in some ways. Gomer, always unconventional, but he did develop into a good Marine over time. But you never were at a lack of somebody trying to figure out how to keep from irritating Sergeant Carter. So, that was Gomer. And I'll tell you this one here. This is one of the things we remember from that.
Go on, put it on, take a think under there.
Remember the time Andy saw Gomer sitting there with a bucket over his head? Yeah, and he said, "What are you doing there, Gomer?"
He's right. I've been sitting there with this bucket on my head and just thinking and thinking and thinking.
When Andy first saw him with that bucket over his head, he said, "What's wrong, Gomer?" "Well, how'd you know something was wrong?" Well, anytime I see a man sitting alone in a Quonset hut with a bucket on his head, I got to ask, what's wrong? Oh, I love it. There's so many things we could think of with Gomer. Let's just listen to a few of these.
Say you ain't had any luck finding a job, huh?
No, but I'm going over to market now. They're advertising for an experienced butcher.
You know anything about cutting meat?
You think they'll ask me that?
And then, of course, there's this.
Hey, Andy. Hey, Barn.
Hey, Gomer. Did Wally check the car over?
He went through her with as fine a tooth comb as you can imagine.
All right, let's have the bad news.
Well, he got her running. I brought her over here with me. But she's going to need plugs, points, bearings, valves, rings, starter switch, ignition wires, water pump, fuel pump, oil pump, clutch bearings, clutch plates, brake lining, brake shoes, brake drums, radiator hose, and radiator hose cover. And I'd give her a good wash, too.
Gomer.
Oh, and of course, when Barney didn't behave and, tried to give Gomer a ticket for doing a U-turn, then Gomer saw him. Some boo was yelling here, citizens arrest. Of course, anytime somebody did good,
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
he was always there. But, when Barney had done that and was trying to give him a ticket, you remember what he said to him?
You just go up and out and holler, fish.
That's right. Oh, me. Now, he did have some talents we didn't mention. Like he could imitate a hoot owl.
How about if I go outside and when I see him coming, I'll do my hoot owl. Hoo, hoo, hoo.
And boy, he was good at that one.
Oh, by the way, Gomer, how you feeling?
Sick as a dog, but having the time of my life.
I want him by a window anytime he's riding in the car with me.
Sometimes I have trouble talking to girls.
Yeah, he does. As a matter of one fact, one time he had trouble. He went over to meet Thelma Lou's cousin. And when he got there, he just ran off. Everybody didn't know why. But in a little while, he came back.
Your flowers. Your corsage. Wouldn't be right for you, Mary Grace, to go to the dance unadorned.
He was nice. And so was she. She was nice. So, folks, those are just some of the things that we know about him. And, of course, he always idolized Barney just a little bit.
It's easy for you, Barney. You're so suave and worldly.
There's so many things about Gomer.
Terrible, terrible, terrible.
And terrible's not one of them. That just we remember, and we always want to say.
He's right. I've been sitting there with this bucket on my head and just thinking and thinking and thinking.
And no matter how much you think about him, Gomer Pyle always brings a smile to your face. And even Sergeant Carter, when he'd get mad, still thought of Gomer. So there you go, folks. There's a little bit of information about Gomer Pyle. Now, I did mention he's Goober Pyle's cousin. They're cousins, and they've took liberty of having their picture made by the man in Hurry's car. And if you'll remember, there was only one time we ever saw them together, and that was when the Fun Girls came to town. Remember that? So that's just a little bit about Gomer Pyle. Hope you enjoyed that. That was just a refresher for those of you who are new Andy Griffith Show fans. We want to invite you to join us here on Two Chairs No Waiting to get to know more and more about this amazing show, because there's so much to be enjoyed about the Andy Griffith Show. And over the last 349 episodes before this one, we've been looking into this 50-plus-year-old show and trying to find things that we enjoy and that we love. And it's amazing to me just how many little tidbits we've been able to find and pull out to just enjoy and make the show even more enjoyable. And I hope you'll experience that same thing if this is your first time. Or if it's not, I hope all you old fans that have been watching the show just as long as I have enjoyed tonight's episode just as much. So, folks, I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415 and leave me a message. Love to hear from you. Always love to hear from you guys. And I'd love to hear from you by that call, because I get to hear your voice instead of having to read. I don't like reading. That's why I talk. That's why I'm here on the podcast. But if you want to send me an email, you can send it at floyd@imayberry.com, and I'll read it. I will get to it. And until next time, folks, drop by twochairsnowaiting.com and check it out and see all the old episodes, and head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com and get you something for Christmas. It's coming up. Until next time, guys, we'll see you here on Two Chairs No Waiting.